Silence. A long, heavy silence that makes the woman shrink slightly under its weight. The teen feels his pulse slow, his hands relaxing at his sides. For the first time since this all started, he feels something shift, not just in the moment, but in the way people are looking at him. The officers seem uncomfortable now, like they're realizing just how wrong this situation was. Then, just as the woman looks ready to turn and leave, the chief speaks again. "One more thing," she says. Everyone looks at her. The woman freezes. The chief reaches into her pocket, pulling out a small notepad. "We'll be filing a formal report," she says. "Not just about this incident, but about the way bias leads to unnecessary calls like this." She meets the woman's gaze head-on. Because this wasn't just a mistake. It was a lesson. And I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. The woman's face turns red. She looks at the officers, then at the man, then at the teen. But there's nothing left to say. Without another word, she turns and walks away, her shoulders stiff. The officers exchange an uneasy glance, then nod at the chief before heading back to their patrol car. The tension finally begins to ease, but the weight of the moment lingers. The teen turns to his mother, searching for the right words. But before he can speak, the man places a hand on his shoulder. "You still want that internship?" he asks. The teen hesitates, then nods. The man smiles. "Good, because I think we have a lot of work to do." The teen lets out a breath he didn't even realize he was holding. The tension in his chest slowly fades, replaced by something else. Relief, maybe even hope. His mother gives him a small nod, the kind that says, "Asterisk, you handled this well." Asterisk, he knows this isn't the last time he'll face moments like this. But today, at least, he isn't walking away defeated. The man claps him on the back, a reassuring gesture. "First day starts Monday," he says with a smile. "Be ready." The teen nods, finally allowing himself to smile back. As the SUV pulls away, and his mother walks him toward their car, he glances around the neighborhood. Nothing looks different, but something asterisk feels asterisk different. Maybe it's just him. As they drive off, he stares out the window, replaying everything in his mind. Today could have ended differently. But instead, it ended with a lesson and a future still full of possibilities. The woman's face flushes. She shifts her stance, arms crossing over her chest, but she doesn't answer. The silence stretches, heavy and unyielding. The teen swallows hard. He had played out moments like this in his head before, had imagined all the different ways they could end. But now, standing here, feeling the weight of it in real time, he realizes something. This isn't just about today. This is about what could have happened if his mother hadn't shown up. The officers exchange looks, the unease between them growing. One of them sighs, stepping forward slightly. "Chief, is there anything else you'd like us to do here?" His words are measured, careful, almost like he already knows the answer. She doesn't look at him. She doesn't need to. Instead, she keeps her eyes locked on the woman, waiting. For what? An apology? A realization? A moment of accountability? The woman exhales sharply, shaking her head. "I didn't mean," she starts, but the words die in her throat. Because deep down, she knows. Everyone here knows. The teen feels his mother's presence beside him, steady and unwavering. The moment is teetering on the edge of something big. And whatever happens next, it's going to change everything. The woman looks down, her grip tightening on her purse like it's the only thing keeping her steady. The officers are still waiting, but the energy has shifted. This isn't just about a misunderstanding anymore. It's about accountability. And right now, no one is sure if she's ready to face it. Then, just when it seems like the moment couldn't get any more intense, another car pulls up. A sleek black SUV rolls to a stop, and before anyone can react, the door swings open. A man steps out, tall, broad-shouldered, and wearing a suit that practically screams authority. His presence is immediate, commanding, like he stepped out of a different world and straight into this one. The officers snap to attention. The woman takes a step back. Even the teen looks up, startled. His mother, however, doesn't flinch. Instead, she lets out a slow breath, as if she was expecting this. The man walks toward them, his eyes scanning the scene. Then, in a voice that is calm but unmistakably firm, he says, "What exactly is going on here?" The chief turns slightly, finally acknowledging him. There's something in her eyes, something unreadable, but she keeps her expression controlled. "I was just about to ask the same thing," she replies. The officers shift uncomfortably. They recognize him. The woman, however, still looks confused. She glances between him and the chief, her forehead creasing. Who is this?" she asks, her voice quieter now. The teen watches, his pulse quickening. He doesn't know who this man is, but he can tell he's important. More than that, he can tell that whatever happens next is going to change everything. The man exhales, glancing at the officers before looking directly at the woman. His expression is unreadable, but his next words make everyone freeze. "I'm the reason this young man was in this neighborhood in the first place." He pauses, letting that sink in. "And I think we need to have a serious conversation about why that became a problem." The woman's face strains of color. The officers stand even stiffer. The tension, already thick, coils tighter. The teen swallows hard. He doesn't know where this is going, but he knows one thing for sure. This isn't over. Not even close. The woman stares at the man, confusion flickering across her face. "What do you mean?" she asks, her voice quieter now, almost uncertain. The officers exchange glances, but no one speaks. The air is thick, waiting for the answer. The man steps closer, his gaze steady. "This young man," he says, nodding toward the teen, "was here because I invited him. Because I was offering him an internship." His voice is measured, deliberate. He's one of the most promising students in his program. I wanted him to see what opportunity looks like firsthand. The teen's breath catches in his throat. He had known this internship was a big deal, but he never imagined it would play out like this. The woman's expression shifts, shock, then something else, something harder to define. Her lips press into a thin line, and for the first time, she looks genuinely unsettled. The chief folds her arms, watching the woman closely. "So," she says, her voice carrying just enough weight to make the officers stand straighter, "you called the police on a future leader, on a young man who was here to build his future." The woman stammers, shaking her head. I didn't know," she whispers, her voice brittle. The man exhales sharply. "That's exactly the problem," he says. "You didn't know. You assumed." Her ex-husband's hands were visibly trembling now. He had always controlled the narrative, made people believe he was the perfect father, the perfect husband. But now, the truth was starting to unravel, and it was clear he didn't know how to stop it. His lawyer whispered urgently in his ear, but he barely responded. His face was pale, his usual confidence slipping away with every passing second. The girl, oblivious to the chaos around her, took a deep breath. "He told me not to tell anyone, but I couldn't keep it a secret anymore." Her voice was steady, but the weight of her words was crushing. It was as if the entire room was holding its breath, afraid to say the wrong thing. The judge, clearly shaken, asked, "What exactly did you see, sweetheart? Please tell us everything you remember." The girl hesitated for a moment before speaking again, her voice quiet but firm. I saw him hurt Mommy. He made her cry, and he told me not to say anything because he'd get mad. But I can't let him lie anymore." She paused, looking at her father with a mix of fear and defiance. "You told me it was a secret, but now I know it wasn't." Her words hung in the air, echoing off the walls. The father's face grew pale. His lips pressed tightly together as if he were trying to hold something back. His eyes flickered nervously to the lawyer, but the lawyer's calm demeanor did nothing to ease the situation. His voice was strained as he